All right, how's it going, everyone? It's Nick Atkin here. We are back for the One Championship podcast. It is Monday. The Monday show is always the best, if I do say so myself, and even better because today I've got BK, Bokang Masunyane. Little Giant is here. Yeah, finally. We've been trying to do this for a while, haven't we, Bokang?
Yeah,
Last couple of fights, I sort of say, oh, yeah, come on the show, come on the show. But the time difference is always quite difficult because I think it's 4 p.m. where you are, 10 p.m. where I am, and normally you're training around this time, but you're not training now. You're taking a week off, a well-earned break, right?
yes. Thanks for having me, Nick. But yeah, eventually we're able to organize some time, and yeah, literally, I've got a 46-day suspension just because of the fight, so the suspension from training and all that, which I think it's very professional of One Championship to do that. So it gave me an opportunity now to just lay back, enjoy time with family, and yeah, just enjoy life out of fighting.
So what is that, like a medical suspension or something? Because it didn't look like you were hurt or anything. I saw you after the fight. You were in good spirits. Obviously, I caught up with you outside briefly. You seemed okay.
Yeah, it seemed okay. I was okay, but of course I took some shots that I actually needed to recover from. And honestly, I'm totally recovered. We're just following the rules and protocols of one. And then from then, after 40, 46 days, we can like start looking for fights and start looking to where to go next.
Yeah, because Sanjar is a beast. He's a very. I love this guy. I love both you guys, but I feel he's going straight to the top in flyweight. You fought him. I think you probably feel the same, right? I know your team were very impressed by him. It was a great fight. But yeah, what was your impression of fighting Sanjar Zakharov at One Fight Night 30 a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, he's an incredible fighter. I knew what I was going up against. My team knew what we were going up against. We had a actually very good game plan, and but what I've seen from him, he was very good at adjusting. Seeing that he's getting caught here at a certain place, and he was able to adjust very well. So he's a very intelligent fighter. He's got a very good fight IQ. So he's definitely gonna be, if not a champion, or one of the top fighters at flyweight.
I'm gonna ask you a bit more about him and about that fight. Just gonna say hello to some of the chat here, some of the members. Combat Sports today in the house. So story of the fight. Happy to see you, Bokang. They are very happy. We're all fans of you here. Now tell me a bit more. I spoke to your team after in the hotel, and I think you were probably sleeping or recovering, but they were having a good time as always, as the boys do. But they they said, it was an experiment to see how you could do going up to flyweight, but they feel like strawweight is more your home. Is that how you feel now upon reflection, that it was a good opportunity to take, but you want to stay in strawweight?
Yeah, honestly, if you'd ask me, I'll say I'll fight at flyweight. Give me any guy to fight against. The whole reason of having a team is for them to be able to help me make the right decisions. And the team that recently built up or that recently joined, they're very good at that. They're very good at analyzing stuff and seeing what works for me and what doesn't. So my team was happy with the experiment I did, but they definitely want me fighting at strawweight, where it's my natural weight. So even at weigh-ins, I was almost underweight going into flyweight. So yeah, the whole team, we made a decision. We got back and we said, look, we had to try. We had to see how it works for me. And there were obviously a few disadvantages for me fighting at flyweight because of the size different, weight different, and so they said we're gonna stick to flyweight, and stick to straw weight and get the title, and we can talk about it later. If I want title at flyweight and so forth.
Yeah, they seem to think now you and Jared Brooks makes the most sense. They were saying they want you to fight him in Denver. Is that something that interests you as well? Have you talked about it with them, or are they just talking to me about that?
Oh yeah, they spoke to you about that. You know, like my team believes that I can beat anyone in my division, you know, and they believe I've got a potential of becoming a world champion, which is very nice because it's something I believed within myself, and it's nice to know that there's a team that will back you for that, and they really believe in me becoming a world champion at one championship, and they know that I've got heart when it comes to fighting. You know, I fought two tough fights recently. I lost, but I showed a lot of heart, and that's what the team wanted to see. And they've seen the improvements of the technique, obviously changing teams and coming into a new team and trying to understand the system and all that. Of course, it'll take time, but in the short space of time that I've done it, I was able to learn so much, and the team is very impressed with that, and I'm very impressed with my progress with my team.
Yeah, tell
So
me a bit about how you joined the team because I was talking to the boys. We after the weigh-ins, I sort of stayed with them in the lobby till midnight or something. Uh, they're quite a crew. Yeah, some characters. Stefan
yeah,
De La Rey, the coach. I know he's working with Dricus Du Plessis a lot as well. And tell me a bit about how this all came about, how you joined the team, and
yeah.
yeah, just everything.
Okay, so I lived in Cape Town. Oh, yeah, still have family down here, but I lived in the city. So in that another gym called Medford, very good MMA gym and all that, and it was basically time for me to experiment in other gyms, try new stuff, you know, and I made a call. You know, my friend, he's a biokinetics. Estian was one of the guys that came with to the fight, and my manager Ryan Delanga, he does all the talking to Rick about fights and everything. And we've always spoke about, you know, trying to go to Team CIT where Dricus is at the moment, and you know, I decided to take that chance. You know, I've had some issues, you know, like asking myself whether I still want to fight or not and stuff. So I decided to, you know, take that journey to go to Pretoria, to Team CIT. Then we actually tried it out, and you know, after the first day of training, I was like, okay, this is where I want to be. You know, I felt that was going to be good for my mental health leading forward, and just being a better fighter. You know, and a week later, packed my stuff from Cape Town. You know, and I just flew off to Pretoria. Live with my friend. He's actually very intelligent guy, biokinetics, so he helps me with my fitness and everything else. So we've been picking that up, and I joined Team CIT, saw how they ran things. You know, it was so much more professional. We've got team doctors, we've got team biokinetics there too. You know, so I was able to fit in very well, and like literally, like I say, this is just the start of something great. um, the fact that maybe I needed a change of energy, you know, so since CIT had all that, and yeah, so I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, it must be great having Steph in the corner, in particular. Just this is a guy who's helped coach someone to a world title in the UFC and to a famous victory. He was telling me about the Adesanya victory, and that was just incredible to hear from someone's mind who helps masterminds things like that. Just how valuable is it to have such a wealth of knowledge to call upon in your corner when you're in the ring or in the circle in one championship?
Yeah, no, it was incredible, you know, leading up to Dricus and Strickland's fight. I was seeing how they were analyzing, you know, the advantages Dricus have and the disadvantages Dricus has against Strickland and vice versa. And, you know, they would get the top performing athletes to put in their opinion and see if they agree with it or not, you know. So it was very nice to see that. And funny enough, they gave us a short notice fight against Sansa. And as soon as I called Steph, he was already watching Sansa's fight style and everything, you know. And I was like, that's crazy because I'm going to see him in a few hours. And he was already sitting and watching the fight and just analyzing and be like, yeah, we're definitely taking this fight. He was so excited. Got me more excited also just seeing him doing that before I even got into it myself. So I really like Steph's brilliance. He is very well at analyzing fights. He's very well at getting other athletes at the gym to try to mimic someone's style so that it can work into my favor. Like that first week of training, preparing for Sanzar, it was like, oh man, this guy's throwing kicks, doing that and all that. So I was like, geez, how do I adjust to this? And as soon as we kept on working it, and like 2 weeks later, I was like, okay, I'm starting to catch on what's happening, which was very nice. Like, even though I lost that fight, it was like so much I learned within that short period of time. So he's very incredible. And I took that opportunity to listen to what he has to say, and we took that into the fight, and we could see so much improvement. So I'm very happy with it. Steph is very happy with it. Our coach Morne is very happy with that. So yeah, it's very nice to have that group of people that really analyzes fights and like just change of technique and everything.
Yeah, he told me as well. Win or lose, the gym, everyone will just get in a circle, right, and sit down in the middle. Whoever's fight was, and they'll tell their honest opinions, give constructive criticism, and things like that. That sounds pretty cool as well.
Yeah, no, I like it. Sometimes you can get to the gym with the win, and be over your head, and they'll be like, no, 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 this is where you messed up. And it's a humbling experience. It's quite nice. I've seen a few fighters, winning fights and still be like, hey, this is what you're supposed to do. This is what you didn't do, which is very nice because the whole team gets around together. And of course, for me, I was nervous coming back to the gym, especially after a loss. And I actually got very uh, good feedback from the team, which was very uplifting. Yeah, so I really like the honesty in the team, and they'll tell you straight away if you're messing up or not. So which was quite cool. It's a very nice dynamic.
Yeah, I think Steph invited me out there to do a camp, a training camp or something. I said, no, I'm okay. I don't fight, but I'd love to come and visit one day. Still, yeah.
Yeah,
But
no, the training is very tough. I think as an athlete, that's what you want to expect. There's tough training and the hours we put in. But we've got everything specialized for everything, which is very nice. That's how a pro athlete should live.
yeah, I think we also had a bet on who would win Rodtang or Superlek rematch. If we put $100 on it or something. Yeah, he's going for Rodtang though. I went for Superlek, but he's
Wow.
adamant that Rodtang could beat Superlek in the rematch. So
Yeah, skill wise, Superlek I think has more tools, but with just grit and everything, Rotang's got it. For me, it's a
it's
very
yeah, it's tough. It's hard to argue with someone who's such a brilliant mind, though.
yeah. So he studies fights every day.
Yes,
Quite nice, but like for someone like me, I'll just watch specific fights and all that. Seen Rotan fights, I've seen Superlek fights. So for me, it's a much more exciting fight than anything. It's for me, it's a bit hard to pick a side as much
yeah.
as I like.
No, I hope that fight doesn't happen anytime soon because yeah, I do love both guys, and I think they have more pressing matters to attend to in terms of fights for them. But I just want to show the guys on the screen as well. Sorry, I don't have a producer or anything, so I have to click all the buttons myself. But here you go. Yeah, this is the team who came out with you. Ryan on the left, your manager, I think you said. Estienne, your housemate, right? And then Stefan, coach, and I know you had a nutritionist as well with you, or he's sort of he's
So
yeah
he's a chef and
yeah
he used to
the chef.
stuff. So we brought him in, to analyze and see how it works with fighters and everything so that we can take my nutrition to the next level. So it was very nice to bring him with. Penda is such an amazing guy, so we worked on some stuff, and we've got a few stuff that we're gonna work on once I get back to Pretoria. So I'm very excited. It's a very exciting shift going ahead, you know. And like we did some blood tests for myself. We did fitness tests to see which muscle fires up quicker and all that. So it's a very exciting time.
Yeah, he was lovely. He bought me a coffee on fight morning because it's not fight night really. It's super early. We started at 7 a.m. and I think you could see I was a bit tired because I was at Lumpini on Friday night as well for Friday fight. So very nice guy. Bought me a coffee. Bought me a bunch of beers after. Yeah, it was cool. I was hoping to come up and see the guys before I left. I think they were all at the pool, but suddenly a
Yeah.
cab arrived, transport to the airport, so I had to jump in it. But I'm sure I'll catch you all for the next fight. But yeah, I was talking to Estienne as well. He says, yeah, you guys have an arrangement. I think he cooks, you cleans. Is that right? Your roommate.
Yeah, so me and Estienne are roommates, and so it's something that before I even start. So I've known Estienne since I was 8 years old, and we used to wrestle together, and we actually competed against each other as kids. You know, then our friendship built up from there, and I've stayed with them a few times. And yeah, so we're very close, and now we've got really bigger plans for me to becoming world champion and just going for the title round, you know. And I feel like there's things I didn't look at the start of my MMA career. I just trained as hard as I could. I just, you know, got into it and fought, just enjoying it. And we realized that, hey, I can make something for myself out of this. And we realized I've got a potential to become a world champion. So he's very excited being part of it. And yeah, so we've got very big plans coming forward.
Well, I'll ask you a bit more about that in a sec. I'll get to a couple of comments from the chat. Here we go. Amor says, a big fan, Bokang. First saw you in Pencrest when you German suplex some poor fella like 20 times. I didn't see that fight. Who was that?
I appreciate that. Yeah, so I had a one fight contract in Pancrase, and that was my first international fight out of South Africa. And yeah, so obviously in other promotions, you're allowed to throw the guy on the head, and a suplex was one of my favorite throws to do, you know. And so I threw the guy like a rag doll, and that fight that actually got attention from one to actually sign me. Cool. So I really appreciate that, and yeah.
I remember watching you pick up someone. I think it was Kato Yamakita, yeah, in Japan. And was that the suplex as well? You lifted him right in the air. Yeah, it was kind of funny.
Yeah, so I was still, you know, sometimes even though I'm in the fight and like trying to get myself psyched up and, you know, focusing on fighting, with the one championship rules, you always have to be careful on how the person lands. If you look at Jared Brooks versus Joshua Parshiro, um, I'm sure Jared Brooks didn't intend to throw Joshua on his head, but that happened, you know. So sometimes you have to be like sort of careful, be careful about it. So I just lifted him first, looked around, and be like, okay, I must throw him on his back so that the back first hits the mat. So it was one of those things, you know. And he caught me in a triangle, and I actually lifted him all the way up, and I wanted to slam him, but I just remembered same thing. You can pick him up, slam him, but you can only slam on the back or shoulders. And so I had to just shake him off. Yeah, so it's a very interesting rules that I have to adjust on, but they also work onto my favors. The fact that you can knee a grounded opponent, you know.
Yeah, Kato. I like Kato, the pocket monk. I think he's definitely one to keep an eye on, and potential title challenger in the future. Do you feel like you may cross paths with him again?
Yeah, I feel like so. You know, he's a very brilliant fighter. Honestly, I also had a very good game plan leading up to fighting Kato, and I think that worked into my favor. And it was a very tough fight, you know, to go because I was looking for finishes, but I was was struggling with that. He's very good off his back in jiu-jitsu grappling, and so it was something to adjust on throughout the fight. So he's definitely a potential to be a contender for the world title.
Yeah, we'll see how it shakes out. I don't know who's next. I guess they don't go straight back to Brooks and Pacho for. Jared probably needs a win, I think. So I don't know what would you do in the division other than give yourself the title shot. Yeah, if you have to pick anyone else.
That's a very interesting states that the division is in. I think Mansour is now the number 2, and probably he might have a chance to get the title shot. Maybe they'll put me against Jared Brooks, or they might put Mansour against Jared Brooks. But either way, but if I have to play it around, obviously I'll try to get me to fight for the title. But I think they'll have to try scuffling it around, see where the division stands underneath Joshua Pasha, because they feel like they're not going to go for Jared Brooks and Joshua 4.
Connor's Corner in the chat. One of my members, what's up, Connor? Always grateful to have your support. Says we need Bokang versus Brooks 2 in Denver. So the fans want it as well, Bokang. Is this, do you think, the fight that makes most sense then?
Yeah, for me, that's the fight that makes sense right now, to put me against Jared Brooks. We fought together before, and with Mansour being number 2 contender, it opens up an opportunity for Joshua to fight for the title. So if anything, I'm the number 3 contender, so that will open up for me and Jared Brooks to fight. And then the winner, whoever wins for the title shot. If it was according to me, that's how I'd do it.
You're not afraid to go into the lion's den, so to speak, go into America, enemy territory. I'm sure the crowd would be up for Jared there, the monkey god.
Oh, 100%. I think the American crowd love when their people fight, And of course, for me, it's going into the, lion's den, it's not my territory. But at the end of the day, I want to be the best fighter in the world. And I want to put myself against the best fighters in the world, And it's nothing better to put me and Jared number 2 again, It'd be a good score to settle. Not taking away from how amazing of a fighter Jared Brooks is. It's a great challenge for me.
One here from official Louis. What's good? Didn't get the notification. LOL. Another member. Yeah, guys, make sure you like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get the notification. Sometimes it plays up. I don't know why. But also, be like Lewis. It's Lewis, not Louis. Sorry. Become a member. That's right. Help me out. But plenty of more questions here in the chat. I'm going to try and get to all of them. I've got plenty to ask Bokang. He's been very kind to hang out. But if you need to leave as well, just tell me and I'll stop bothering you. But
I'm cool with that. I'm taking time off,
cool.
so I'm quite happy.
Awesome. Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, I've been meaning to do this for a while because I want everyone to see how amazing you are. I don't know if everyone gets to see it enough. See what I see backstage because you're very fun to talk to and be around. But there you go. Story of the fight says the most impressive thing about Dricus is his game planning and execution of that game plan. Bokang is in great company with that team. 100% right. You have to agree with it.
I agree to that 100%. Dricus used to be a very underrated fighter, and I think he's proved the world wrong. And he showed how his planning goes through, for fight. And I've been honored to watch his training camp against Strickland. And it was brilliant to see how he actually works through the techniques that he's supposed to use into the fight. And then into the fight, you see that you're like, oh, wow, I'm not surprised. That's the same thing he did at training, which is actually brilliant. Not a lot of fighters got the ability to do that, in my honest opinion. Like, there's some fighters that understand the techniques at the gym, but don't know how to execute it in fights. So Dricus is definitely someone to look toward or to look forward to.
Yeah, and he seems to like you a lot as well. I know whenever I share content with you, like our interview clips or weigh-ins, things like that, he's always commenting, sharing. It's funny, I get a bit starstruck seeing his name sharing my posts. What are you like around him? Are you a bit starstruck having such an incredible fighter to pick their brains every day, or is it just normal for you now?
So it's normal for me. You know, I've known Dricus for a very long time. When I started my MMA career about 10 years ago, I've been seeing Dricus actually go from good to great and to becoming a star in one of the organizations in South Africa. So seeing him also going from that to KSW winning titles, like going to the UFC and now winning titles. So for me, it's quite normal to see, but it's also a blessing to know you have a world champion in your gym that you can train with and or train around. You know, he'll whoop my ass if I train with. And like it's really nice to have someone like that, you know, and it's quite inspiring and it's uplifting. So it's very good for the community in South Africa, our gym in that matter.
Some more comments here and questions. Lorca says, "Can I get a shout out from my goat Bokang?" I don't know. Give him a shout out.
Lauka. Shout out to Lauka. I appreciate that. And I appreciate Let's
And
go.
one from Austin here. Bokang's one of the most likable fighters on the roster right now. Can't wait to see him back in the ring. I agree. You're so nice. Some people must wonder: is it an act, Bokang? Are you really this nice all the time? I think I know the answer because I've seen you away from the cameras. But yeah, is
Yeah,
it hard to be so nice and positive all the time?
I think the fighting has played a big role for me. You know, in life things go sideways, and you know, life is unpredictable. But I think the fact that I keep that energy in, I'm able to show it out when I fight. You know, I think it's easy to be nice. To be honest, you know, it's easy. You just have to be nice, and the energy just replicates back to you. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I wanted to talk about as well on a stream with you. Is just I know the last time you fought, the one championship rules for the weigh-ins had kind of changed a little bit on the fly, and there was this new rule that if your opponent missed or failed hydration, but then came back and passed, I can't even remember. It was so complicated, but there was a provision that they would pay, a certain amount of their purse to a charity of your opponent's choosing, and your opponent obviously gave you that percentage of the purse to your charity, and I interviewed you. I caught you outside your room. I wasn't stalking you. I think we were on the same floor, but I saw you guys, and you said I asked you who you're gonna give the money to, and I stuck my phone in your face. Sorry, but you said, yeah, I give it to my old orphanage. I forgot the name of the orphanage, but could you just tell that story again for everyone who doesn't know your background, obviously? And I did find out from you guys that the money did get paid eventually, and it was even matched as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, when you asked me that question, it was so easy for me to know exactly what I'm gonna do with it, you know. I grew up in an orphanage, and for me it was to always from what they've taught me and the values from what I've learned was for me to give back, you know. And I feel like it doesn't matter the amount of things that I'll give back to my orphanage. Um, yeah, I feel like there's so much more that I can give back, and how can I put this? No money will match what they've done for me. You know, no amount of money will match what they've done for me. But whenever I know I can give back to my orphanage, that's the first thing I'm gonna do. You know, it's the first thing that's in my mind, and you know, the opportunity came up and I was able to take it with both hands. So yeah, for me, it was such a blessing in disguise, you know, and it's something that I'm looking forward to do from for every fight, you know, if whatever opponents I fight against or whatever opponents I challenge, um, if they miss weight, that money will definitely go to the orphanage that I was raised in.
Yeah, I actually just I found it might be quite loud. I'm going to share it on screen, but this was the moment. Yeah, I found you outside your room. So it was you're donating 20% of the purse to Kids Haven Benoni. Have I pronounced that right?
Yes, that's right. I will always give back to my orphanage, and not just my orphanage, but whenever I get an opportunity to give back to my country, that's what I'm gonna do. You know, uh, a lot has to do with my mindset and how I got where I am, but a lot has also had to do with the people I've been surrounded with, and that first few years as a child, you know, you need to be surrounded with the right people in order to be able to succeed. And yeah, I'm grateful that Kids Haven played such a great role to get me where I am today and in such a positive state too.
Yeah, and it generated a lot of positive feedback. A lot of people commenting, and I think even your old orphanage message as well. So that was very nice to see. And yeah, I did ask your team did the money ever get paid, and they said yes. And it was also matched by someone else. I can't remember. Could you shed any light on that? So it sounds like they got double the money.
Yeah, so we did get paid. The orphanage did get paid, and they were very grateful for that. So actually, I was able to get a sponsor on board to also add money into it, and we still on the works for that. So we'll be able to get that into it and match the amount, or if not, get a similar amount out to the orphanage. I think it'll be a great honor for me and the sponsor that decided to do it.
It's very cool to see. Going back to the chat quickly, story of the fight says Bokang gives back every fight just by showing those kids what's possible in life. That is awesome. I agree.
Oh,
Do
that's
you get
amazing.
yeah,
I, I appreciate that, and yeah, you know, when I fight, uh, something that I enjoy doing. You know, it opens that creative side of me, and whenever I fight, I always try to give my best. I always try to fight like it's my last fight. So you know, life can happen to anyone. Anything can happen, and you know, that's the most where I feel alive. And you might as well do it at your best ability.
another one from Story of the Fight asking, how do you like wrestling in the ring versus the circle?
Ah, that's an interesting one.
I
You
think you
know,
fell out of the ring, right? Sandra pushed you out or through the
yeah,
ropes. Yeah.
I feel that actually worked out to my advantage because I actually sprawled my legs out of the ring, and which happens if it's against the cage or in the circle. It's much more difficult to sprawl someone when they put you against the cage because your feet can't go anywhere. But either way, I enjoy it because we work a lot on cage work and things. But because I was a freestyle wrestler, it also plays to my advantage wrestling in the ring too.
And another from Lauka who got a shout out already saying, how's training with Dricus? I know I've already asked you, but any other insights you can give us on what it's like to train with him?
You know, it's really fun. You know, Dricus is a fun guy to be around. You know, when he's out of camp and just training, he's always having jokes and joking around. But it's nice to see the difference of him switching on when it's camp and out of camp. So it's quite cool. It's really a blessing just knowing that you train with the best in the world. It gives you that self belief that you can also do it. So I'm very grateful to be having Dricus or to be training in the same gym as Dricus.
I know I asked you before the fight last time as well. What was it like? I just want to rehash it again for everyone else, but how was it having that title shot locked up for so long and then, everything that happened with COVID, it got delayed. You were set to fight Pacio, and then it slipped through your fingers. Eventually, Jared Brooks, came on a tear, and credit to you, you took that fight. You could have said, "No, I've got a title shot already," but you took that fight, and then it just didn't go your way. And I know, speaking to your team, I asked them. I said, "I'm pretty sure you guys fight again. 9 times out of 10, that's not going to happen. Where he gets on your back." It seemed to just be this weird, unfortunate thing that happened, and you very nearly managed to survive that round, but you just ran out of time, right? I mean, how is it dealing with that? Yeah, that disappointment, and it must have been a major setback in your career, and one you're
Yeah,
keen to avenge, right?
yeah, it was, but like I said, I fight in the most prestigious mixed martial arts organization in the world. You always fight the best fighters. That doesn't matter what it is. It's just that I didn't get my opportunity, but I can't sit back and cry about it. I have to get up the next day, still train, and the beauty of things is that you still have family and friends around you. That don't define you according to your title. But obviously, for me, I still want to title. I would like to get the title shot, and yeah, I'm gonna fight my way back to the title shot. By all means, and like I said, we've got some improved adjustments that we're making at the gym, fitness wise, nutrition wise. So it actually excites me more because that means I'm fighting the best in the world. I beat the best in the world. It can be the toughest way through, but I'm going for the title shot no matter what.
Yeah, and I love Jared. I'm sure I know you guys are friendly as well,
Yeah,
despite everything you messaged as well. But for me, it seemed like he seemed invincible when he was on that run when he beat you. Everything was he touched turned to gold, and he was unstoppable. He won the belt. I didn't think anyone could beat him in strawweight, and I was even wondering if he could go and win the belt at flyweight, be the champ. But then now there seems to be cracks in his armor. The loss to Reese McLaren, and then this loss to Joshua. I wasn't expecting that in Qatar. Have
yeah,
you been surprised to see that? Yeah.
yeah. Honestly, that also surprised me. The thing that didn't surprise me was him moving to the flyweight division. As a strawweight, you can see he's also a natural strawweight. It's a different ball game. You're fighting different bodies, guys that are almost twice your size. Or height wise. So I wasn't surprised by that, but also I was a bit surprised because Jared is an incredible fighter. What surprised me was the Joshua Pasha fight. Not taking anything away from Joshua Pasha, I definitely had Jared Brooks winning that fight, and that was a surprise for me. And I believe he'll get back stronger. He'll come back stronger. So yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, I know Joshua surprised me too, but it was a pleasant surprise because it shakes things up, and a lot of people kind of were calling him the fake champion, paper champion, whatever, and he went out and proved, well,
Yeah,
I'm not. I'm yeah. It was great to
yeah,
see. Yeah,
yeah. It's nice to see people winning from adversity. Like everyone literally, or most people, um, overlooked Joshua Pasha, and they forget that he's been a reigning champ for a very very long time. So honestly, I overlooked it too. It surprised me that in the manner that he actually even beat Jared Brooks. If anything, I thought that fight would have gone to decision, or Jared Brooks would have got a submission. And the only way I saw Joshua winning was by decision, and he shook the world. He surprised me. So big ups to Joshua Pasha for that.
yeah, I agree. I thought it would go decision. I thought Jared or Jared would get a sub. How did it change your mental approach to? I presume you sort of game planned 100 times how you would face Joshua before. Did this change how you would approach the fight now?
Yeah, in a way it did. For me, it actually did for me. For me, it was okay. I need to improve my fitness. I need to improve my body structure. I need to improve everything, you know. And I was lucky enough to join Dricus gym, where we were able to actually see the right physicians and all that, and be able to do blood tests and see where I'm lacking on, and see what I can do better, you know, especially doing muscle tests and everything, seeing what muscle group I can actually work on better. So in hindsight, it works out also to my advantage of becoming a better fighter after seeing that fight.
Yes, well, I hope we can see it someday. But Lauka, again, asking what's next on your journey? Is it Brooks or nothing, or do you see yourself possibly getting matched up with someone else? It's a great division. I do love strawweight MMA in one championship.
Yeah, you know, if there's a possibility of me fighting Joshua Brooks, I'll definitely take that fight. And if it brings me closer to the title, that's what I'm gonna do, you know. And by the look of things, from how I'm seeing the division, I see Joshua Pasha versus Mansour. So if there's no one in that division willing to fight Brooks, I'm always the guy to come on top and take any fight. And yeah, so I'm excited for that.
Anonymous, another member. Shout out to Anonymous. And if you're not a member, think about it, guys. Help me out. Help me pay my contributors, and enjoy the extra content we can make for you. But anyway, Anonymous says one strawweight division is elite. Yeah, I agree. So they should keep every guy active, fighting 3 times a year. Most of them live at the same side of the world. Divisions deep. I bet you'd love to fight 3 times a year, Bokang. I know it hasn't happened lately.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. You know, the last few years I've been with one, I'd fight like once a year, or especially with COVID that came through, it was like once after 2 years, you know. So now that the COVID and everything is over, I'd like to fight at least 3 times a year or more, because there's a lot of talent in that division. And the best way to keep yourself sharp is being as active as you can. And I believe me being active will play an advantage to my title run.
Yeah, because you've been in one for a long time. It's 6 years or so now, and it's only I think 7 fights, right? Or
Yeah.
I think you
So
debuted against Sawada in 2019, right?
yeah, so I think the last few months has been the most months that I've been active, you know, counting last year too. And so it's exciting for me, you know. Now I'm gonna be able to fight more without being ring rusted, and that's gonna play a lot of advantage, you know. And my team wants to see me fighting more, which is much exciting. One championship is more excited with my fights recently, so which is very nice. They also want to see me fight more, and it's the fans that want to see me, so it excites me quite a lot.
Because I was at that show. I think your first fight was it in Kuala Lumpur? Yeah, and I don't even remember seeing you. Like that's the thing. I can't even remember your fight. Like I think it was it was the first year I'd started covering one, but so
Yeah,
yeah, I guess you were lower down on the card, right? One of
yeah,
the
that's right.
prelims.
I think I was the first fight on the card, if not the second fight on the card. And you know, it was nice to see myself making my way up every single time. So now, recently, I think the last 4 fights or the last 5 fights I fought on the main card. So that says a lot about my improvement and how one championship slowly started liking my fighting style and all that. So I'm very confident that on my next fight I'll be fighting on the main card.
Yeah, mark of greatness. Just I remember I definitely was there. It was my
Oh
I think it was only
wow!
my 4th or 5th one event, but I've forgotten how. It's funny. I look at the card now and I see all these people who now I'm very familiar with and who I've interviewed many times. And at the time, I didn't really know anything. You know, like Rui Botello as well and Taiki Naito with the second fight.
Wow!
Yeah, it's just crazy. Elias Mahmoudi as well was on the card, and yeah,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
honestly,
Reese
even
McLaren, I didn't even realize.
yeah, it's just seeing them now and be like, hey, I recognize this fighter, from a while ago. So it's very cool to see that. After a while you start recognizing the other fighters. So I don't blame you for that.
Well, yeah, I was quite new to it all. I only started covering it that year, and I think the first show I did was a Tokyo show in March, and then there was another Tokyo one in the October, and then I think Manila a couple times. Yeah, so I was still getting to know everyone in one, and the pandemic kind of killed that, slowed it all down. It's only really been the last 2-3 years that I've actually grown myself as like my role covering it. But I remember very vividly watching you in your second fight with the spinning heel kick knockout, was it, of Rene Catalan, the head kick. It was 37 seconds. Yeah, like
Yeah.
that put me on notice as to who you were.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that was actually one of my favorite fights, even though it was 30 seconds long or 37 seconds long. It was actually my first knockout ever in mixed martial arts. So it was something to celebrate. It was like. Yeah, so it's something since I've had that, I've always been looking for a knockout because now I believe I do have knockout power, and it's just knowing how to channel it and knowing what to use. And yeah, and even that fight was literally the fight before they started announcing that you get a $50,000 bonus from Chatri. So I missed out on it, but it's one of those things.
Yeah, I remember. I think I broke that news. It's like Chatri texted me or something saying, "Yeah, we're going to start offering $50,000."
Yeah,
It's a shame, yeah, because it was. Yeah, you're right. It was January, I think. Yeah, something.
yeah. I think it's a cool thing, what I like about Chadri, he will offer the $50,000 bonus right after your fight, which says a lot, If he likes your fight, he'll offer you that, and I think it's very cool what he's doing for the one championship fighters because it really does change a lot of fighters' lives, and it's something to look forward to. You also want to perform at that high level. You want to do amazing things while fighting. So it's I really appreciate that. It's quite cool.
Yeah, it's good. Makes for good drama as well. Yeah, Nick is deep in it. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's good. I don't normally get so in depth with the fighters on, especially when we do the pre-fight or the post-fight at the event. You only kind of get 5-10 minutes that you don't want to take up too
Yeah.
much time, but it's fun to just slow it down a little bit and talk. But again, I urge you, if you need to leave, just tell me. I won't go on much longer. But,
No, like I said, it's nice having a break from fighting. Just taking time to see family, taking time to lay back, because I had a lot of questions after my last fight, and then my team was like, no, just go slow down, let everything clear, let the dust settle, and then you can come back to the gym, then we can start planning for the next fight, which I thought was very cool. So like I'm on holiday now and just sitting and enjoying time with family.
that's great. That's what it's all about. Yeah, I actually just took 3 days off from everything because I haven't stopped really since the start of the year. We've had seven events, in a row, like back to back to back to back to back. 2 weeks break, sort of not even 2 weeks. I mean, every 2 weeks there's been another event since the beginning of January until that last one. It's been hectic, so I actually just switched my brain off for the weekend, and it's good to not think about it, right? Because you can overthink sometimes. I think maybe it applies to training as well, right? If you just don't.
Yeah, that's a crazy thing, man. I admire one guys that works with one. It's so much events that are happening. You get 2 cards a month, and you get like, geez, you guys are working almost every month. It's actually it's quite crazy. The amount of work you guys put in, and still be able to put up good shows like this. Put up good. It's really a lot of work, and yeah, you have to
No,
appreciate. Yo.
It is tough, and there's a bunch of guys as well in the chat who have their own channels. You know, shout out Story of the Fight, Combat Sports Today. I know they all work just as hard. It is relentless, but now we've got there's another 2 weeks until I have to leave home again, and then that extra time does make a big difference because I haven't had the time to mentally unpack from
Yeah,
the beginning of January, right? Because you do a show, you come back for a week, and then you're already off again to another one, and yeah.
yeah, gee, I can imagine. That must be crazy for you guys.
Well,
Because,
if I lived in Thailand, it might be easier, but I'm in Hong Kong. Not too far. Not as far as South Africa, right? How long was the journey? The boys were telling me it wasn't easy to get out there.
yeah, it was about a 16-hour flight
Oh,
over, so it was quite a journey, and it's nice to fly with the team also at the end of the day because you're like, oh well, I actually flew with Steph, but it made the flight easy, because Steph with his wide personality and everything makes it quite cool. And obviously, then we booked that the whole team flies back at the same time, so it made things much easier.
yeah, they were telling me how much it cost as well. Wasn't cheap.
Yeah, yeah. No, some of them took the money out of their pocket, which is quite cool. And so that's why we're creating a team where we be able to generate that money so that they able to fly free for my flights and be able to pay for living in Thailand or wherever we'll be fighting. So yeah.
It's good to see you guys sticking together. Official Louis, in my opinion, I think Bokang should be promoted more by one. Could easily be a fan's favorite. I'd love to see him fight in Singapore. Would you like to fight in Singapore? A and B, yeah. Would you like to get a little bit more promotion?
Yeah, I definitely would like to get more promotion from one. I fought in Singapore twice, if I'm not mistaken, and I actually enjoyed my time in Singapore, and the crowd was amazing. So the second time I fought just after COVID, so it was very quiet, but still Singapore is such a beautiful place, man. Very clean and very respectful. And for me, I think, especially after my last fight now, we were waiting outside to get onto the buses, and just one of the fans came up and asked for a signature and a photo. And then all of the sudden, it was like a line full of people waiting for a photo and a signature, which I found very nice to see. I think if one could have seen that, it would have been a very good promotion. And so it seems like there's a lot of fans that want to see me fight, and I appreciate that because I think with the good relationship we have with one, they're gonna get me fighting more, which makes me even more excited. So I think the fans are gonna be seeing me more active this time.
Yeah, they were loving you at Lumpini. I saw, a lot of fans outside saying hello to you. So yeah,
Yeah,
of course, you fought Singapore. Was the Rene Catalan fight there, I think, and then Jared, but that was behind closed doors, right?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. And it's nice to fight in front of fans. The energy is incredible. Whether they booing you or cheering for you, but you don't see that in Asia, which is quite nice. You don't see fans, someone, they always cheering for mixed martial arts and fighting, which is quite cool.
Oh yeah, I agree. It's just a completely different world from some of the other organizations. That's why I love it.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
what's your favorite thing to watch or do on the plane? How are you passing the time? Our story to fight.
Geez. So I like watching animal channels, and especially on my way to the fight. It's very relaxing. Just looking at nature and all that. So I just put my headsets on, listen to very chilled music, and just put animal channels and just let time pass by. So it's a nice thing to do. I still do it while I'm at home. So I'll chill around and just put on an animal channel and just like let the brain unwind.
What, like a documentary, National Geographic kind of thing?
Yeah, yeah, it's my favorite thing to do. It's like it's nice to see nature. It's nice to see how animals live and all that. So we're also fortunate enough in South Africa that we actually able to, you know, experience nature, and we get to go see animals, and it's in a very good price. So I think for my next fight, I'm gonna do like leading up to the fight where I actually go see animals and just go do activities in South Africa. I think it'll be much more entertaining for fans too.
Yeah, it'd be some good content for the gram, right?
Yeah. So like I said, we've been doing a lot of plans. You know, I think it's time for me at this level to get engaged with fans also around the world and just show them my lifestyle and my way of living.
Yeah, because I think last time you guys, you stayed in Thailand a lot longer. I think you went to see a bit of that nature, right? I'm still stalking your page here on Instagram in the background, so I'll share that on screen. But yeah, you checked out some nice spots, didn't you?
Yeah, it was actually very nice. You know, we went to Philly Island. We went to different gyms. We went to Tiger Muay Thai. We went to Bang
Bang
Tao.
Tao, yeah.
We were able to, you know, experience Thailand, and that's very nice for me to do after, you know, especially after fights. Just take some time to you know, forget about fighting for a bit and just enjoy life as it is, you know. And it was quite cool, you know. I was able to take Stefan, my coach, and my best friend Estian. So and they loving it too, you know. We get to travel the world and fight, so it's something that I'm grateful for.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so I'll get your input as well on this is the coolest possible answer apparently for the nature documentaries on the plane. um yeah, so I was going to quickly just discuss some of the latest news. I don't know if you care to chime in on it, but don't know how much you know about it, but yes, I guess the thumbnail I did put Superlek breaks his silence, so I have to bring that up quickly. The Superlek, first of all, Bokang, what did you make of the Superlek Nabil situation in 172 in Japan? Were you kind of too focused on your own? Because I know it was in just 2 weeks before your fight, but I guess you were aware of everything that happened. You know, what was your take?
Yeah, I was aware. You know, honestly, I knew Nabil was very good, so I was shocked that with the Superlek fight, but I didn't take much consideration into it. But in my own opinion, I still think Superlek is one of the best fighters in the world. You know, so I'll be excited to see that rematch too.
Yeah, I have found because the reason I bring it up is Superlek. He didn't really say much before or immediately after the fight, and then I had Liam Harrison on the show right after, and he said, "Oh, I've been hearing, Superlek wasn't 100% going into the fight. That's all I'll say." And then I heard other whispers that he had injuries, for 3 weeks before and didn't train. I think I told Nabil that last Friday before your fight, I was caught up with Nabil, and he wasn't happy when I said that because he all his response was he showed me like shoved his hand right in my face. I was like, "Oh fuck, he's gonna kill me," but he showed me he had like a broken hand. He said, "Oh yeah, I trained for my whole camp. I could only use one of my hands, and I was doing Ramadan as well. Like, yeah, he was injured, but so was I. My preparation was tough. So, but what I'm saying, Superlek has now spoken finally. So here it
Yeah.
is. It is on Sportskeeda. So keeping it in the family of one of the companies I work for, which is good. Yes, I felt like I wasn't even there. Superlek admits he didn't fight to his usual standards in the rematch. The quote basically, in the ring, I couldn't do anything. As you can see in the fight, I couldn't think clearly. I felt like I wasn't even there. As for the physical side, I could have fought well, not much pain when kicking. The real issue was my mental state. Failing the weight and hydration test really brought me down. I also saw him say something that he alluded to not being 100%. He sort of said 50% maybe. So do you feel that's an excuse, Bokang, or do you?
So look,
Superlek's a pretty humble guy, right? I don't think he's going to be making excuses.
look, in my honest opinion, it's easier to have excuse after losing a fight, you know. But when you win the fight, all those excuses go away. So it's a very interesting space in between, you know. Like a lot of fights, you can always say this happened before the fight and this, but then you win the fight, then you forget about all those excuses. But the fact that you put yourself into fights, you could have withdrew from the fight, you know. And if you felt that you were not 100% ready, so like I'm not a big fan of making excuses, but I also understand that there are things that happens before training camp, during training camp before the fight. So it's like it sits for me both on the line, you know, like some excuses are valid and some excuses are not, you know, like honestly, also from what I see, or from what I've experienced, missing hydration does play a lot on that, you know, because you're still worried leading up to the fight, you're still worried on the day, but at the end of the day, you put yourself out there to fight. So whatever happens, you put the best foot in front of you and just go for the fight.
Yeah, did you feel sorry for Nabil because he didn't have the belt? You know what I mean? He did all the things he needed to do. He just couldn't. He didn't walk away with the title. It's a weird one. And then 2 weeks later, the same thing happens. But it's a 5-round fight for Alexei Nicholas can still win the belt. After Ursel lost his belt on the scale. I know Mehdi wasn't too happy about that. Mehdi's a 2.
Yeah, so I think it sucks. It sucks if you're an opponent, and you're fighting for the title, and only one person is allowed to win the fight. But also, you have to be professional about it. As a world champion, you should know with the right people. We've got a nutritionist for one championship that does all the nutrition for fighters that want to get involved with them. I think when you reach that level, my honest opinion, there isn't excuses to miss weight. And mad respect to all the fighters and mad respect to the guys that missed weight. But like at such a professional level, you're fighting against the best athletes in the world. You want to try to put your best foot forward, and no matter what, you signed up to take the fight on the day. So you have to make sure you bring your best self out, and if it doesn't work out, then don't make excuses.
Yeah, I believe you've never had problems, right? As far as I can remember, you've always made it with the hydration.
I've missed hydration with Jared Brooks actually once.
Oh, I take it back.
Yeah, and it did play.
There was a different era, wasn't it? It was before Prime Video, so it was sort of different rules, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it did play a part, where you start doubting yourself and all that. But like at the end of the day, you have to take that and shove it out. You can start doubting yourself after the fight, all that. But it does play a crucial role, and honestly, I understand it coming from the fighters. But at the end of the day, when you have to fight and travel the world, there's no excuses of not being. I also put it on myself that the fact that I was fighting at such a high level of mixed martial arts, I didn't make weight. That was bad on me. That was my responsibility as a fighter to choose to fight at this weight and be hydrated. So I learned a lot from that. After that, I was like, I will never not make weight and not make hydration. And since then, I've never done that. So I hope that learning curve for the fighters that misses weight. You're fighting at the highest level of mixed martial arts, and you end up missing weight and all that. So it's a tough decision for the promotion to do whether to let you fight or not. And sometimes your opponent can say whether they want to fight you or not.
Well, it's refreshing to hear such, honesty, because a lot of fighters make excuses. I hear or see, oh, this happened. I was on weight, but I just wasn't hydrated. But it sort of defeats the point because you didn't do both. It's nice to hear, someone take responsibility for it because I don't see it that often. I know it's difficult, and oh God, I wouldn't want to do a weight cut ever, but it's part of the game, right? So it's part of the job. That's what I see it as.
Yes, that's what you sign up for. You know, it's like waking up the morning and going to do your job, and you have an excuse, you still have to do your job, you know, and whether you feel like doing it or not, you know, it's a difficult process that you go through making weight and hydration, but it's doable. And at this level, you should be able to know whether you're going to fight at the higher weight class or you're going to fight at the low class.
Some interesting comments just on that. Drink Water saying, I still think it wasn't fair to Nabil. He didn't get the belt. Superlek's side proposed a 3-round fight with no title shot, or he's not fighting. There's really no choice since it's such a huge fight and Nabil made weight. Plus, he wanted revenge. Taking advantage of Nabil on the way, not accusing Superlek's team of doing so, but feel bad for Nabil. Yeah, I agree. I do feel very bad for Nabil. I hope they get that rematch on for the title at some point. Not, I know Nabil's going to take some time off now. He's going to do some seminars in Europe, so probably not till later in the year. Yes, but Drink Water again saying, I only had less than 20 fights back when I was a kid, but you go into the fight still saw somewhere. It's never 100%. I mean, is that the case, Bokang? You always got some kind of little injury somewhere or something?
Yeah, there's always a problem leading up to a fight, and that's why I say once you lose, you know, you think of all the excuses, or you think of all the things that went wrong, which is nothing wrong to do with it. But the fact that you're going out there and fight, what happens if you win? Those excuses goes away, right? So like there's no use of making an excuse after the fight. Rather make an excuse to the family and all that, or your gym members, because they know what you've been through. At the end of the day, the supporters, the fan, the people working at One Championship, they don't know what you're going through the training camp and all that. All they know is that you're coming in and fight at a certain weight class, and so your job is to make sure the first fight you're getting through is making weight and making hydration.
Yes, story of the fight sort of asked the same question there. So I think you've answered it already. Yeah, it seems injuries are very prevalent. All right, my final one, because I've kept you more than an hour already, so I don't want to keep you too long. But I did advertise Chatri on the thumbnail, and the reason why was because I saw the only other bit of news really I thought I would cover is I saw Chatri and Kaito Ono seem to have made up. That was another big thing from Japan. I'm sure you were watching the press conference, Bokang, or you saw Chatri having a go at Kaito for not taking the Marat Gregorian fight, another weight miss issue or hydration issue. But yeah, beyond kickboxing here, covering it. Kaito Ono says Chatri spoke to him, reached out, and issued an apology, and he's going to fight Marat Gregorian again down the line. They've it seems like they've agreed to do it. So yeah, you happy to see them kiss and make up, so to speak? Okay.
Yeah, that's sorry. Just wanna rephrase on the question you ask. Are you asking about them fighting again, or?
Well, just the whole situation to me was quite sad in a way to see like everyone be so angry at each other, and you happy to see all parties could come together and move on and agree to fight again. Yeah, because it seemed like Kaito wasn't gonna ever come back because Chatri kind of dissed him in the press conference, and then it caused a whole storm on social media in Japan. Chatri ended up issuing retracting his comments, on one's official website in Japan, but now it seems like Kaito has accepted the apology. So, yeah, I just mean, you happy to see all sides come together, move on, and hopefully, yeah, it sounds like we're going to get Kaito against Marat Grigorian again.
Oh yeah, definitely. But it also shows that Chadri is one of the guys that take accountability for the things he says, and it's nice to see that he's still giving up fighters opportunity to fight. Some of us fighters is what we do for a living. If you look at it outside fighting, we're still figuring things out, but we know that fighting is what we can do. So it's really nice of Chadri getting team together back, or getting the guys together back to be able to compete against each other again.
Yes, story of the fight says Shootboxing even accepted the apology and said they're excited to work with one in the future. Cool to see that. I'm happy. It was a very dramatic event. Everything in Japan, from top to bottom. I feel like your event wasn't as dramatic, was it?
No, so we had a very chilled event, but it's really nice to see both parties coming back. Making it up. So if the fans want to see, if that's what the fans want to see, it's good for Chatri taking accountability and being able to making it happen again.
Yeah, Chatri gets a lot of stick online, but I think he's a man of his word. I know that, personally. I've spoken to him a lot over the years, and if he says he'll do something, he does it. Good and bad. But good to see him not be too, let his ego be out of control. If he realized he made a mistake, in his eyes, he went back and said sorry. So that's always cool to see. Also cool to see Bokang do an hour and 10 minutes with me here. So I will bring it to a close because I feel really bad. I kept you very long. So
I'm really enjoying the interview. So I really appreciate you having me here. It's actually really fun. This is probably one of the longest interview I've done.
Well, yeah, it's like I said, it's we don't always get to go so deep in when I speak to fighters, but there's so many fighters that have such interesting stories like yourself, and I'd love to get those stories out there. So thank you for letting me kind of dive a little bit deeper with you, and maybe some more people got to know who you are, hopefully, and hopefully they become fans in the future, because I'm a huge fan. I love watching you fight, and getting to know you as well has been great. So just thank you from me, sir, for doing this. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thank you for actually putting me out there. I think I'm excited for fans to see me more active, and I'm excited for fans to see what I have to show. I think I've just showed a very bit of my talent, and moving forward, there's so much exciting stuff, and my fighting style, this change of fighting and everything, I think it's gonna be so much more exciting. So I think the fans are about to be treated to a very good style of fighting.
I don't doubt it. Yes, Bokang is a legend for doing the whole show. Says Story to Fight deserves all his fans and more. Yeah, normally fighter will come on, they might do 15, 20 minutes, and I don't want to push them for more because they're very busy people. But yeah, like I say, great to have you for over an hour. It's been awesome. One of my favorite shows I've ever done. So appreciate that. Any final words you want to say? A shout out to anyone, anything?
Yeah, no, shout out to my fans. I really appreciate this, and I'm definitely gonna be gaining more fans for the show, and I'm really appreciated. Honestly, I'm excited to really every fight to just level up every time and put on a better show every single time. So you guys are in for a treat, and I really appreciate you following me. And yeah, just don't forget to follow me on Instagram, littlegiant_BK.
Yes, I showed him on screen earlier. I'll just show it one more time. Here it is. Okay. Yeah, you can follow him, littlegiant_BK. Get this man more followers. He's got less than me. That's insane. I want that to be rectified ASAP. Yeah. That sounded like a flex. Sorry, I didn't mean it.
Good, I appreciate it. I really do. And I appreciate you putting me out there. And I think it's time for the world to see what I'm capable of. And I'm really excited to showcase that.
I agree. All right. Thank you one more time, BK. And yes, I will hopefully be back tomorrow or Wednesday with another show. We'll see what we can do, what other guests I can rustle up. But for now, yeah, see you all later. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for asking comments. And thanks for everything. Thanks for watching and asking Bokang all these interesting questions too. All right. I'll see you later, guys. Thank you so much. All right.